Hours passed as the explorers entered the dense, misty jungle. Towering trees loomed overhead, their massive roots weaving through the soft, damp soil like ancient serpents. The air was thick and humid, carrying the scent of wet earth, decaying leaves, and the faint sweetness of tropical flowers. Every step forward revealed new wonders. Orchids clinging delicately to tree trunks, fungi in clusters of brilliant color. Creeping vines with intricate patterns twisting around everything they touched. The explorers moved cautiously, their lanterns cutting arcs of light through the mist. Shadows flickered and shifted, and every now and then, glowing eyes appeared in the distance, just at the edge of perception. Tiny rustlings in the undergrowth hinted at creatures observing silently, vanishing before the explorers could glimpse them fully. A distant bird call echoed, sharp and haunting, followed by the soft buzz of insects in the thick air. The forest seemed alive, breathing, and aware of every movement. Despite a faint unease, the explorers found themselves captivated by the vibrant ecosystem. Moss carpeting the ground, lianas hanging like green ropes from the canopy, and delicate ferns unfurling in hidden corners. They paused to examine a fallen log, noticing small insects scuttling across it and the intricate patterns etched by nature over decades. Every detail suggested that this jungle had existed in perfect balance for centuries, its secrets carefully guarded. The explorers' hands gripped their machetes tightly, but their curiosity drove them forward, compelling them to discover more. Shafts of sunlight filtered through breaks in the dense foliage, illuminating patches of moss and flowers in a warm, golden glow. The interplay of light and shadow created surreal images, spiderwebs sparkling like jewels, leaves glistening with dew, and tree trunks painted with mottled patterns of sunlight. It was mesmerizing. Despite the beauty, the jungle was full of potential threats. Twisting roots and fallen branches formed natural obstacles, slowing progress and demanding attention to every step. The explorers knew one misstep could mean injury, but the risk only heightened their senses, keeping them alert and aware of subtle movements. The glowing eyes became more frequent, sometimes appearing closer than before, as if testing the explorers' resolve. A branch snapped somewhere behind them, and they froze, listening intently. The soft trickle of a hidden stream nearby offered a calming contrast to the eerie tension surrounding them. As the hours passed, the explorers realized that the jungle itself seemed to guide them. Every path, every clearing, seemed intentional, as if the forest had a rhythm, a pulse of its own. It was a place of beauty and mystery, where every moment was filled with potential discovery. The explorers moved deeper, the mist thickening around them, shadows stretching longer with the setting sun. By late afternoon, they reached a small clearing. Here, the sunlight broke through more fully, revealing vibrant flowers and tiny animals moving quietly among the foliage. The contrast between light and shadow created a hypnotic pattern, perfect for slow, immersive observation. Even with their lanterns, the explorers understood that the jungle held secrets beyond their comprehension, a living, breathing world that demanded respect and caution. The deeper they went, the denser the jungle became. Twisted roots formed natural barricades, vines dangled from towering trees, and the thick fog reduced visibility to mere meters. Yet each step forward revealed exquisite details. Orchids in impossible hues clinging to mossy trunks, tiny insects performing aerial dances in the dappled sunlight, and mushrooms forming elaborate clusters like living jewels on the forest floor. The glowing eyes appeared more frequently now, peeking through shadows and disappearing quickly. Every faint rustle made the explorers tense, machetes raised, yet nothing emerged. The jungle played a delicate game of hide and seek, revealing its wonders while keeping its most dangerous secrets hidden. Streams trickled through the terrain, their waters crystal clear and icy cold. Small fish darted beneath the surface, reflecting the sunlight like scattered gems. Fallen leaves created a soft carpet underfoot, while the interwoven canopy above filtered light into shifting, golden patterns. The interplay of light and shadow created moments of startling beauty that made every cautious step worthwhile. Despite the calm appearance, signs of danger were everywhere. Unusual footprints appeared in muddy patches, humanoid in shape, but distorted in size. Broken branches and disturbed foliage hinted at creatures moving unseen. The explorers exchanged wary glances, feeling both awe and anxiety in equal measure. As they moved further, the sounds of the jungle intensified. The buzz of insects, the distant calls of birds, and the rustling of unseen animals created a symphony that was both calming and subtly unnerving. The explorers learned to move in rhythm with it, stepping carefully while observing every minute detail of the jungle floor, the plants, and the shadows around them. Every clearing revealed something new: delicate flowers glowing in patches of sunlight, moss-covered rocks, and glimpses of small, camouflaged animals. The explorers marveled at the intricate interdependence of life here, every plant, insect, and animal contributing to a fragile but thriving ecosystem. Night began to fall, and the jungle transformed. Mist thickened, shadows grew deeper, and the glowing eyes became more frequent, closer, and more pronounced. Fireflies dotted the darkness with points of light, creating an almost magical effect. Yet, in the depths of this beauty, the explorers felt the weight of unseen observation. Each breath, each careful step, carried them further into a living, breathing mystery. The jungle demanded respect and focus, rewarding patience with moments of breathtaking discovery. The explorers knew that the heart of the jungle remained elusive, its secrets carefully hidden, and that every step brought them closer to truths they could barely imagine. Hours passed as the explorers ventured even deeper into the jungle. The fog thickened, weaving around giant tree trunks and dangling vines, creating an almost otherworldly environment. Every step brought them closer to the heart of this hidden world, revealing extraordinary details of life that had existed here for centuries untouched. Tiny creatures scurried along the forest floor, camouflaged perfectly against moss and leaf litter. Birds of incredible colors flitted through the canopy, their calls echoing like faint bells through the mist. The glowing eyes, which had been occasional curiosities, now appeared more consistently in the shadows. Sometimes they seemed to follow the explorers, every move, blinking in the distance, hinting at beings that preferred to remain unseen. Branches snapped subtly, leaves rustled, and the explorers realized that the jungle itself was aware of their presence, a sentient observer guiding or testing them. Streams and small waterfalls added a gentle soundtrack to their journey. The water, clear and cold, reflected shafts of filtered sunlight, creating shimmering patterns that danced across the jungle floor. Ferns and mosses thrived along the banks, their vivid greens a striking contrast against the darker tree trunks. The explorers moved carefully, using the sound of the streams as a guide through tricky terrain, while also pausing to admire the delicate patterns of nature surrounding them. Every clearing seemed alive with intricate life. Tiny orchids clung to tree trunks, their petals glowing faintly in the filtered sunlight. Mushrooms formed elaborate, colorful arrangements on fallen logs, and creeping vines intertwined, creating a natural tapestry that was both beautiful and mesmerizing. It was a delicate world, full of complexity, yet hidden behind a veil of fog and shadows. The explorers' senses were heightened. Each rustle of leaves, each subtle movement in the periphery demanded attention. Lanterns illuminated only a small radius around them, leaving the rest of the jungle to the imagination. Every step was cautious but curious, a balance of awe and vigilance. As evening approached, the jungle transformed. Shadows lengthened, the mist thickened, and the glowing eyes seemed closer, almost daring the explorers to continue. Fireflies glimmered among the foliage, adding tiny points of light to the otherwise dark scene. The interplay of natural light, shadows, and glowing eyes created a hypnotic visual rhythm, perfect for a slow, immersive storytelling experience designed to calm and captivate. Despite the tension, the explorers couldn't help but admire the undeniable beauty surrounding them. Golden shafts of sunlight pierced the mist in rare breaks, highlighting moss-covered roots and delicate ferns. The jungle was a living, breathing entity, a sanctuary of calm intertwined with subtle menace. Each step reminded them that this world had existed for ages, its secrets carefully guarded and only partially revealed to those patient and observant enough to notice. They moved deeper still, guided by curiosity and respect for the hidden jungle. Every moment was a balance between discovery and caution. The explorers understood that the heart of the jungle might never be fully revealed, yet the journey itself, the sights, sounds, and sensations, was a lesson in patience, observation, and wonder. With each careful step, each measured breath, the explorers felt a profound connection to this mysterious ecosystem. The jungle, dense and misty, alive and watching, was both a challenge and a reward. Its hidden wonders were revealed slowly, in glimpses and hints, creating a story that was as much about patience and perception as it was about adventure. The explorers knew that while they had ventured far, the deepest secrets of the hidden jungle remained elusive, preserving the wonder and mystery that would linger in their minds long after they left. Hours passed, and as night fell completely, the jungle seemed to exhale, enveloping the explorers in a cocoon of calm and suspense. The glowing eyes faded into the distance, replaced by the subtle, rhythmic chorus of nocturnal life. The explorers paused, reflecting on what they had seen and what remained hidden, feeling a mixture of awe, respect, and curiosity. In this hidden world, every shadow, every beam of light, and every sound held meaning. The explorers realized that the jungle was teaching them slowly, gently, yet profoundly. It was a lesson in observing without interference, in moving with care, and in appreciating the delicate balance of life that had endured long before humans arrived. Each moment in the jungle was a step into the unknown, a meditation on discovery, and a celebration of the untold stories of a world rarely seen.
The explorers ventured further into the dense heart of the jungle, senses alert for anything unusual. Amid the mist and towering trees, they began to notice subtle signs of human presence. Twisted vines seemed deliberately moved aside, and small, worn paths appeared in the thick undergrowth. The air carried faint traces of smoke, a soft whisper that suggested life somewhere nearby. The explorers slowed their pace, realizing that they had stumbled upon something extraordinary. Remnants of a hidden human tribe, surviving deep in the wild. Huts constructed of branches, leaves, and mud emerged from the shadows. Smoke rose lazily from small fires in front of each shelter, carrying the scent of cooking and the faint aroma of herbs. The structures were simple, yet ingeniously built to withstand rain and humidity, blending seamlessly with the surrounding foliage. The explorers noted how skillfully the villagers had used natural resources, their ingenuity evident in every detail of their shelters. Abandoned hunting traps lay scattered across clearings. Each trap seemed meticulously crafted, yet hinted at a grim purpose. Skeletal figures, or crude human-like shapes, were positioned within some of them, suggesting the tribe's methods of survival and a culture intertwined with hunting and caution. Each discovery added to the explorers' sense of awe and trepidation. Here was a people who had lived in harmony, and yet in constant vigilance, their lives dictated by the jungle's rules. Symbols were painted on trees, their meanings cryptic yet deliberate. Spirals, lines, and abstract shapes suggested rituals or messages, evidence of a culture both ancient and enigmatic. The explorers paused to document these signs, knowing that they were glimpsing a civilization that had evolved in isolation, their existence nearly invisible to the outside world. Shadows moved in the periphery, fleeting glimpses of figures watching from the dense foliage. The villagers remained largely hidden, revealing themselves only in brief flashes, a subtle reminder that the explorers were intruders in a secretive world. The explorers felt the weight of observation and respect, understanding that the tribe had survived by staying unseen. A delicate balance between exposure and concealment. The jungle seemed alive with secrets, each sound and movement carrying meaning. Leaves rustled as if communicating. Small animals moved cautiously, and distant calls echoed with cultural significance. The explorers' lanterns highlighted the immediate surroundings, but could not pierce the mystery that lingered just beyond the light. Every step forward was deliberate, a mixture of curiosity, caution, and wonder. Despite the underlying tension, the explorers marveled at the villagers' harmony with nature. Each hut, each fire, each symbol on a tree reflected ingenuity and survival instincts honed over generations. It was a living testament to adaptation and resilience, a reminder of humanity's ability to endure even in the most isolated and challenging environments. With every careful movement, the explorers advanced deeper, guided by observation and respect. They documented signs of life, footprints in soft mud, discarded tools, remnants of meals, and patterns of vegetation that hinted at human cultivation. The jungle's secrets unfolded slowly, like chapters in a story, each revealing glimpses of a hidden culture that had thrived far from modern eyes. As the explorers pressed on, the mist seemed thicker, wrapping around the trees like a soft veil. Every sound carried farther in the humid air, the distant calls of exotic birds, the rustle of leaves as small creatures scurried, and the faint crackle of tiny fires hidden deep within the foliage. The explorers realized that they were entering a fully inhabited region, one where humans had learned to live alongside the jungle rather than in opposition to it. The huts grew more numerous, arranged in clusters that suggested a social structure. Some were larger, possibly communal, while others were small, individual shelters for single families. Smoke drifted lazily from each fire, curling up through the dense canopy above. Occasionally, glimpses of movement, a shadow slipping behind a hut, a hand disappearing into the undergrowth, reminded the explorers that they were not alone. These people were observing them cautiously, perhaps aware of intruders, yet too careful to fully reveal themselves. Primitive tools and objects were scattered around the clearings. Bowls made of carved wood, rudimentary fishing lines, and stone knives hinted at a simple yet efficient lifestyle. Each object told a story of survival, a testament to ingenuity in a harsh environment. The explorers examined these items carefully, noting the craftsmanship and attention to detail. Every tool was multi-purpose, designed to maximize utility while minimizing effort, reflecting a deep understanding of the jungle's challenges. In some clearings, ceremonial markings adorned the ground, patterns drawn with stones, leaves, and colored mud. The symbols were intricate and deliberate, suggesting rituals or cultural events. The explorers speculated about the tribe's traditions, imagining ceremonies under the moonlight, dances around fires, and quiet moments of reflection shared among the villagers. Even without witnessing these rituals firsthand, the signs conveyed a sense of culture and community that had endured for generations. Glowing eyes continued to appear at the edges of vision, sometimes close enough to catch a fleeting detail of a figure crouched behind foliage. The explorers felt the tension rise with each sighting. The villagers were skilled at remaining hidden, moving silently and watching without being noticed. It was a delicate dance of observation and caution, one that required patience and awareness from the explorers. The forest floor told its own story as well. Footprints of varying sizes crisscrossed the mud, showing paths taken regularly. Broken branches and trampled plants indicated frequent travel, while cleared patches suggested cultivation or intentional clearing for campsites. The explorers noted these signs meticulously, understanding that they were piecing together the daily life of a tribe that thrived in secrecy. Sounds of life, the crackling of fires, distant voices, the rhythmic tapping of tools, created a hypnotic background, perfect for the sleep history storytelling format. The explorers moved slowly, absorbing every detail, careful not to disturb the delicate balance that had kept this society hidden. Each observation revealed layers of complexity, from social interactions to survival strategies, that spoke of resilience, ingenuity, and adaptation. The explorers realized that the villagers' relationship with the jungle was symbiotic. Huts blended with trees, traps were carefully placed to protect resources, and food sources were taken without waste. The people understood the ecosystem's limitations and opportunities, their lives deeply entwined with the natural world. The explorers felt a growing respect, appreciating the intelligence and foresight required to maintain such harmony in a challenging environment. As evening approached, shadows lengthened and the jungle took on a new ambiance. Fires glowed faintly, lanterns flickered, and the mist shifted, creating shapes that were both beautiful and mysterious. The explorers paused to take in the scene, knowing that each moment provided a rare glimpse into a world few outsiders had ever seen. The hidden tribe remained elusive. Their presence felt more than observed, adding a layer of suspense and wonder to the journey. With hearts racing and senses heightened, the explorers continued cautiously, documenting every sign, every symbol, every fleeting shadow. They knew that understanding this hidden culture would take patience, observation, and respect. The jungle was alive, and so were its people. A reminder that even in the most remote corners of the earth, life adapted, survived, and thrived in ways both fascinating and mysterious. Night began to descend over the dense jungle, turning the mist into a ghostly blanket that shifted with every soft breeze. The explorers felt the air grow cooler, dampness settling on their skin as they moved carefully through the undergrowth. Their lanterns cast narrow circles of light, barely touching the shadows that seemed to shift with a life of their own. The glow from distant fires of the hidden village flickered intermittently, teasing glimpses of huts, figures, and the faint shimmer of smoke curling into the canopy above. Every sound became amplified in the quiet of the jungle night. The distant hoot of an owl, the subtle rustle of leaves as small creatures moved unseen, and the faint murmur of human voices carried with an eerie clarity. The explorers noted that these sounds were both calming and tense, a perfect combination for the hypnotic narrative of sleep history storytelling. Their ears strained to catch every detail, aware that even a small sound could signal the presence of villagers moving stealthily, just beyond the reach of their lanterns. Closer inspection of the village revealed intricate designs on the walls of huts and on the ground surrounding each shelter. The patterns, created from clay, leaves, and colored pigments, depicted animals, hunting scenes, and symbolic motifs that likely held cultural significance. The explorers wondered about the stories behind these designs. Were they passed down through generations? Did they represent spiritual beliefs or historical events? Each symbol added depth to the understanding of this secretive tribe, showing a complex culture that thrived unnoticed. The villagers' activities were glimpsed only as fleeting movements. A figure might appear briefly behind a hut, crouched low, carrying a small bundle of food or tools. Another might dash between trees, pausing just long enough to glance at the explorers before disappearing into the shadows. These glimpses created an air of suspense without being frightening, keeping the explorers alert yet deeply respectful of the tribe's need for secrecy. The explorers noticed subtle traces of survival strategies. Small caches of stored food hidden under leaves, traps carefully set for jungle animals, and walking paths that seemed to connect different huts efficiently while remaining concealed from outsiders. These details painted a picture of a community that understood the delicate balance between human activity and the jungle's natural rhythms. The explorers marveled at the ingenuity, realizing that every decision made by the villagers was calculated for both safety and sustainability. The glowing eyes, first seen sporadically, now became more frequent in the periphery. Shadows shifted as if alive, and the explorers learned to interpret these signs carefully. The villagers watched from concealed vantage points, testing the explorers' patience and respect. This silent observation created a rhythm. Step, pause. Observe. Step, pause, adjust. The explorers began to feel part of the jungle, moving in harmony with its subtle cues, rather than forcing their presence upon it. Small fires provided warmth and glimpses of the villagers' routines. The soft orange light revealed individuals engaged in nightly tasks, repairing huts, tending fires, and maintaining tools. The explorers were captivated by the quiet efficiency and focused effort of the tribe. Each movement was purposeful, demonstrating a deep understanding of how to survive in an environment both beautiful and unforgiving. The jungle itself seemed to respond to the presence of humans. Mist shifted to reveal hidden clearings. Leaves shimmered under the lantern light, and the subtle sounds of wildlife formed a constant, calming symphony. Even as the explorers moved cautiously, there was a sense of peace in witnessing the intricate coexistence between the villagers and their environment. The jungle, alive with movement and sound, felt like a living narrative, guiding the explorers through each moment with wonder and subtle tension. As the night deepened, the explorers took time to reflect. They documented what they could, made sketches, and whispered observations to each other. The hidden villagers remained partially obscured, revealing only enough to maintain their mystery. The explorers felt privileged to witness even these fleeting moments, aware that understanding this society fully would require patience, respect, and countless hours of careful observation. With the lanterns casting long, soft shadows, the explorers felt a mixture of awe and humility. The jungle held secrets older than any of them could imagine, and the hidden tribe had mastered the art of survival in this dense, challenging environment. Each moment was a lesson in observation, patience, and reverence for life that thrived in the most unexpected corners of the world. Every step forward was deliberate, every glance cautious, and every observation recorded with care. The explorers understood that the story of these villagers was one of resilience, intelligence, and harmony with nature. A story that would captivate anyone patient enough to witness it. As they continued their journey, guided by curiosity and respect, the explorers felt themselves drawn deeper into the mystery, eager to uncover the untold tales hidden within the folds of the jungle. The explorers moved cautiously along the winding jungle paths, their lanterns flickering in the dense mist. Every shadow seemed alive, every rustle of leaves hinting at unseen observers. Hours passed slowly as the jungle's sounds enveloped them. Distant bird calls, soft insect buzzes, and the occasional snapping of a twig underfoot. The air was thick, humid, and redolent with the earthy aroma of wet moss and decomposing leaves. The jungle was beautiful, but it carried a silent warning that all was not as it seemed. As they reached a small clearing, their lanterns illuminated a series of objects that immediately caught their attention. Bones, arranged in precise patterns near what appeared to be old fire pits, lay scattered but deliberate. The explorers knelt down carefully, observing the ritualistic arrangement. Nothing about the display was chaotic. It seemed symbolic. A part of the hidden tribe's structured customs. Each bone told a story, not of random violence, but of a culture that had adapted to survival in extreme isolation. Near the bones were remnants of clothing and delicate ornaments that suggested human origins, but were subtle. Textured fabrics, braided hair, and small items that appeared ceremonial rather than purely functional. The explorers examined each piece without touching, noting the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the tribe. These items, combined with the arrangement of bones, hinted at a culture steeped in tradition, one that had mastered a balance of survival, ritual, and respect for their environment. Every step the explorers took brought new revelations. They noticed footprints in the damp soil, human-like but small, leading deeper into the jungle, showing paths through undergrowth and over twisted roots. Alongside the footprints were occasional handprints, smeared faintly in mud, suggesting climbing or the use of natural tools. These signs indicated that the villagers had perfected ways to move silently and efficiently through the dense terrain. The explorers could feel eyes watching them, not directly seen, but felt as a presence. Occasional flickers of movement between trees or glowing reflections from the darkness hinted that the tribe was aware of their visitors, but chose to remain hidden. The explorers understood the delicate balance. The villagers were dangerous, yet observant. Their culture, precise and deliberate, and their awareness of intruders, sophisticated. The jungle itself added to the tension and wonder. Shafts of moonlight broke through the thick canopy, illuminating moss-covered logs, ferns, and creeping vines. Shadows shifted subtly, making the explorers question what was real and what was imagined. Every sound, every movement seemed amplified, guiding their senses and heightening their awareness. Despite the potential danger, there was an undeniable beauty in the interwoven ecosystem, a reminder of life thriving in its hidden corners. As the explorers advanced, their curiosity grew. The bones, clothing, and footprints told a story not of chaos, but of survival, ritual, and ingenuity. They realized that the hidden villagers had thrived for generations by carefully balancing their deadly needs with structured cultural practices. Each observation brought awe, reflection, and a slow-building suspense that was both captivating and calming, perfect for the hypnotic rhythm of storytelling aimed at sweep and intrigue. Continuing deeper into the jungle, the explorers discovered more subtle signs of the villagers' activities. Small fire pits, carefully maintained, were hidden under overhanging branches and surrounded by protective stone formations. Each fire pit held small, symbolic items, bits of carved wood, dried plants, and tiny objects that suggested ritual or cultural significance. The explorers noted the careful placement of each item, understanding that the villagers operated with precision and purpose. Footprints continued to lead the explorers, sometimes converging, sometimes diverging into smaller paths. They observed remnants of what might have been traps or tools used in hunting. Ingeniously constructed from vines, branches, and leaves, nothing was overtly dangerous at first glance, but the explorers sensed the intelligence behind the design. The paths themselves were instructive, showing where humans had moved silently, navigated obstacles, and concealed their presence from intruders and prey alike. Occasionally, glimpses of the villagers themselves were caught. Flickers of shadow between trees, quick movements at the edge of visibility, or glowing eyes reflecting the lantern light. The explorers felt both awe and unease. The villagers were experts in remaining unseen, yet fully aware of intruders. Their stealth and understanding of the jungle were remarkable, and every encounter, or near encounter, reinforced the subtle tension in the air. The explorers also noted subtle markers along trees and foliage, scratches, carvings, or symbolic arrangements. These signs indicated territory, warnings, or guidance for members of the tribe. Every observation was layered with cultural and practical significance. The explorers understood that these people had survived by mastering both the environment and the psychology of their prey. It was not brutality for its own sake, but efficiency, survival, and cultural preservation. Despite the tense atmosphere, the jungle's beauty was ever present. Shafts of moonlight revealed intricate details of moss-covered branches, orchids clinging to tree trunks, and leaves shimmering with dew. The interplay of light and shadow made each movement feel cinematic, drawing the explorer's eyes to both wonder and caution. Every step forward was a meditation on the balance of life, danger, and beauty, giving the story a rhythm that was both calming and suspenseful. As they paused to take notes and reflect, the explorers understood the dual nature of the jungle, deadly yet nurturing, secretive yet revealing. The villagers' presence was a testament to human adaptability and survival instincts, blending ritual, intelligence, and patience into a culture that thrived quietly, efficiently, and deadly. By now, the explorers were fully immersed in the mystery. Their lanterns illuminated a small clearing where the remnants of previous hunts were evident. Bones were arranged neatly. Symbolic markers were present, and small caches of food and tools suggested meticulous planning. The explorers approached carefully, absorbing every detail while remaining acutely aware of unseen eyes. The villagers' tools were subtle but effective. Woven traps, sharpened sticks, and ingeniously concealed snares designed for small prey. The explorers observed them from a safe distance, recognizing the intelligence behind each design. Every pattern and placement suggested not mindless violence, but deliberate survival strategies honed over generations. Small glimpses of the villagers reinforced this understanding. Shadows flitted through trees. Eyes glimmered faintly, and subtle sounds suggested movement without confrontation. The explorers felt a mixture of fear, respect, and fascination. They realized that the villagers were not mindless predators. They were highly skilled, cautious, and deeply attuned to their environment. The explorers also discovered cultural markers, symbols painted or carved onto trees, natural arrangements of stones, and tiny shrines of leaves and twigs. These were not merely practical. They held ritualistic significance, offering insight into the tribe's beliefs, social structure, and methods of survival. Each observation added layers of depth to their understanding, creating a narrative that was suspenseful yet safe, intriguing yet soothing for a slow bedtime storytelling style. As night deepened, the explorers continued carefully, noting every subtle sign, every hidden tool, and every movement that suggested intelligence and purpose. The jungle seemed alive around them. Every leaf, every branch, every distant sound reinforcing the presence of unseen inhabitants. The explorers' hearts raced gently, minds alert, yet the slow rhythm of discovery created a hypnotic effect. By the end of their journey through this section of the jungle, the explorers had pieced together a picture of life, death, ritual, and survival. The villagers' deadly customs were balanced by their intelligence, culture, and understanding of the environment. The explorers realized that this hidden society existed in perfect harmony with the jungle. Lethal yet methodical, mysterious yet structured. Each discovery, each observation created a story of suspense, awe, and slow, reflective tension, perfect for sleep-focused, calm storytelling. As the explorers continued cautiously along the twisting jungle paths, a sudden change in the atmosphere caught their attention. The sounds of the jungle, birds, insects, and the rustle of leaves seemed to quiet in patches, as though the very forest was holding its breath. Lanterns swayed gently, casting flickering light across twisted roots and thick vines. Every shadow seemed to move just slightly out of sync with the rest of the jungle, as if something unseen was observing them carefully. From the darkness, faint silhouettes began to emerge between the trees. They moved swiftly but silently, gliding along the jungle floor without disturbing the undergrowth. Their presence was subtle, yet undeniable. The explorers paused, holding their breaths, trying to discern what they were seeing. Eyes glowed faintly in the distance, reflecting the lantern light and sending a shiver of both curiosity and unease through the observers. Every movement was deliberate. Leaves rustled softly under unseen feet. Branches snapped only occasionally, creating tiny alerts that sent the explorers' hearts racing gently. It was clear that these beings, though human, were perfectly attuned to the environment, masters of stealth, capable of navigating the dense jungle without leaving obvious traces. Their silhouettes were shadowy, their actions precise, and their awareness of the explorers seemed total yet hidden. The explorers adjusted their lanterns, trying to illuminate the figures without drawing attention. Shadows danced across the forest floor, shifting with the slightest movement. Every step forward was cautious, every breath measured. The explorers' senses were heightened, absorbing every sound, every flicker of movement, and every whisper of the night. The jungle, alive with unseen watchers, created a rhythm of suspense that was both calming and hypnotic. In the midst of the darkness, faint signals emerged. Small drums, rhythmic and subtle, echoed softly through the canopy. They were not loud enough to alarm, but the explorers recognized them as markers of presence, ritualistic, cultural, and deliberate. The sound blended with the rustling leaves and distant bird calls, creating an eerie but mesmerizing soundscape. The explorers understood that these sounds were both a warning and a guide, a signal of observation by the hidden tribe. Each step deeper into the clearing revealed glimpses of the tribe's intelligence and cunning. Tiny markers on the ground, arrangements of leaves, and subtle shifts in the mist indicated paths that had been used countless times. The explorers followed carefully, noting the precision with which the tribe had adapted to their environment. Each moment was a mix of awe and cautious anticipation, perfect for a slow, suspenseful, sleep-focused narrative. As the explorers pressed onward, the shadows seemed to respond, shifting and moving in subtle ways that suggested deliberate observation. Eyes glimmered faintly from the darkness, sometimes in pairs, sometimes scattered, always watching, but never fully revealing the watchers. The explorers' lanterns reflected off wet leaves, creating small pools of light that highlighted parts of the forest while leaving other areas in near total darkness. The sounds of the tribe's movements were understated yet effective. Leaves rustled softly, twigs snapped in quiet patterns, and the occasional low murmur, almost like a chant, floated through the mist. The explorers realized that these humans were not random in their activity. Every step, every sound, every pause was calculated. They were learning from the jungle as much as it seemed the jungle was interacting with them. The explorers observed patterns in the movement of shadows. Sometimes, a faint silhouette would appear behind a tree or over a ridge, and then vanish almost instantly. Their eyes glowed for a split second, reflecting lantern light, before blending back into the darkness. The explorers understood that the villagers were testing them, gauging reactions, and ensuring that their presence was acknowledged without direct confrontation. Navigating the jungle floor required extreme care. Twisting roots and fallen branches posed constant obstacles, and the explorers' lanterns barely illuminated the dense vegetation. Every movement had to be deliberate. One wrong step could alert the watchers, yet the explorers found themselves mesmerized by the precision and grace of the unseen tribe. The rhythm of suspense was slow, cinematic, and perfect for hypnotic storytelling that eased the mind while maintaining engagement. Occasionally, glimpses of cultural markers appeared, symbols on trees, small arrangements of stones, or subtle carvings that indicated rituals and tribal awareness. The explorers pieced together a pattern of communication and presence that was hidden in plain sight. The shadows and glowing eyes, the barely audible sounds, and the precise markers all combined into a tapestry of suspense and intrigue. Even as anxiety flickered in their hearts, the explorers noticed the beauty of the jungle itself. Mist curled around massive trees, illuminated by faint moonlight, while small orchids and moss patches shimmered with dew. Light and shadow danced across the landscape, creating both mystery and a sense of calm. The explorers walked slowly, absorbing every detail, fully immersed in the rhythm of suspense that blended fascination with gentle tension. The final stretch of the clearing brought the explorers to the edge of a hidden riverbank. Shadows moved more rapidly now, darting between trees, their glowing eyes reflecting anticipation. The subtle drums of ritualistic beats echoed from unseen locations, creating a heartbeat for the forest itself. The explorers felt the intensity of being observed without confrontation, a delicate balance of suspense, curiosity, and safety. Lanterns swayed, casting long shadows over rocks and roots. Each step required caution, as the undergrowth hid both beauty and possible danger. Faint glimpses of movement between tree trunks suggested a society that had perfected stealth and observation. The explorers' hearts raced softly, in tune with the hypnotic rhythm of the jungle's nocturnal activity. The tribe's presence was confirmed by subtle signs. Small disturbances in foliage, carefully placed sticks, and objects partially concealed within leaves. These markers were deliberate, suggesting that the villagers had guided or tested the explorers' path without making themselves fully visible. Every observation reinforced the narrative of intelligence, skill, and careful observation. The explorers realized that they were part of an intricate game, guided by cultural signals, stealthy observation, and the jungle itself. It was not a chase for violence, but a test of awareness, patience, and subtle interaction. The eyes in the shadows, the occasional flicker of movement, and the rhythm of the jungle all combined into a cinematic, hypnotic story perfect for slow, sleep-focused engagement. As the explorers paused to rest and reflect, the jungle seemed alive around them, breathing, watching, and interacting in ways they could barely understand. They felt a mixture of respect, fascination, and gentle suspense. The slow rhythm of their movement, combined with the subtle cues from the hidden tribe, created a narrative both calming and thrilling. By the end of this segment, the explorers understood a profound truth. The tribe, though deadly in method, operated with intelligence, stealth, and cultural depth. The shadows, the subtle glowing eyes, and the rhythmic signals of the jungle told a story of mystery, intrigue, and survival, perfectly suited for a slow, hypnotic, sleep-friendly storytelling experience. As dawn approached, a thin, golden light began to pierce the dense jungle canopy. Mist clung to every leaf and branch, casting soft shadows that shifted as the sun inched higher. The explorers, exhausted but alert, knew that their time in this hidden world was drawing to a critical phase. Every sound, every movement, and every whisper of wind seemed to carry a message, a reminder that the jungle was alive and aware. They had observed the tribe closely, subtle movements, glowing eyes, and ritual markers. Now, the explorers needed to find a path back through the labyrinthine forest without provoking the watchers. Every step was carefully calculated, balancing the thrill of discovery with the necessity of safety. Their lanterns, dimmed in preparation for daylight, barely illuminated the twisted roots and dense vines that marked the jungle floor. The jungle itself seemed to test them. Fallen branches, hidden pools of water, and sudden drops required constant attention. Mist swirled around their ankles, and the subtle rhythm of insects and distant bird calls created an eerie yet calming soundtrack. The explorers moved slowly, letting curiosity guide them while respecting the unspoken rules of this hidden ecosystem. Occasionally, they caught glimpses of the villagers in the shadows, fleeting silhouettes that disappeared as quickly as they appeared. It was a silent acknowledgement, almost a warning, that the explorers were being watched and that every action mattered. The explorers adjusted their pace, tiptoeing through thick ferns, crouching under low-hanging branches, and carefully navigating the soft, damp earth. Despite the tension, there was beauty in every detail. Tiny droplets of dew clung to delicate flowers, and the interplay of sunlight and mist created sparkling patterns on mossy tree trunks. Orchids of vibrant colors, rare ferns, and twisting vines formed natural artworks that captivated the explorers' attention, even as they focused on escape. Every step was both a physical and a mental exercise in patience, awareness, and subtle observation. The explorers noticed faint signs along the jungle floor: footprints, broken twigs, and displaced leaves. These were reminders of the tribe's intelligence, markers that both guided and challenged them. The hidden humans had created an environment that was difficult to navigate without understanding its rhythm, yet full of clues for those observant enough to notice. The explorers followed these subtle signals carefully, interpreting every mark as part of the jungle's silent story. Hours passed as the explorers moved deeper, winding through dense undergrowth, leaping over tangled roots, and ducking under low-hanging vines. The glowing eyes of the tribe occasionally appeared, reflecting sunlight or catching faint shadows in the mist. Each encounter was brief, fleeting, and carefully controlled, adding to the hypnotic rhythm of suspense without provoking panic. The jungle itself became a character in their journey. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, creating dancing patches of light on the forest floor. Birds called softly in the distance, while insects hummed a steady, calming rhythm. The explorers adjusted their movements to the subtle signals of the environment. A rustle of leaves might indicate a footstep. A faint glint of light could be an eye watching, and every shadow became a potential clue. They found small signs of the villagers' previous activities: carefully arranged sticks, symbolic markings on tree trunks, and subtle patterns in the placement of stones. These indicated ritualistic behaviors, clever navigation, and intimate knowledge of the jungle. The explorers admired the tribe's mastery while maintaining a cautious distance, ensuring that their presence remained unobtrusive. Despite the ongoing tension, the explorers felt a growing sense of calm. The jungle's rhythm, the interplay of light and shadow, sound and silence, was hypnotic. Each step forward became a meditation in motion. Their breathing matched the gentle rustle of leaves, the trickle of hidden streams, and the occasional call of distant birds. The interplay of curiosity, respect, and observation created a mental state that was perfect for reflective, sleep-friendly storytelling. Navigating around natural obstacles became a deliberate act. Twisting roots, slippery moss, and uneven terrain required constant focus. Every misstep could trigger an alert or reveal their position, but the explorers moved with careful grace. Lanterns, now mostly dim, provided glimpses of their immediate surroundings, while keeping the majority of the jungle in soft, mysterious shadow. The interplay of suspense and beauty continued to hold them captive. Tiny flowers glimmered with dew, moss-covered stones added texture to the terrain, and mist curling through tree branches created ghostly shapes. The explorers found themselves balancing fear with fascination, learning to interpret subtle signs and appreciating the hidden harmony of the jungle. As the explorers approached the edge of the hidden world, the jungle opened slightly, revealing a narrow river that glimmered under the rising sun. The faint sound of flowing water was soothing, contrasting with the subtle suspense of unseen watchers. The glowing eyes had vanished, leaving only faint impressions of the tribe's intelligence and presence. Crossing the river required careful attention. Rocks, hidden currents, and slippery mud demanded calculated steps. Every movement was a blend of curiosity, respect, and careful observation. The explorers paused to reflect, watching sunlight dance on the water and mist rise gently from its surface. The hypnotic rhythm of nature, combined with the quiet absence of the hidden tribe, provided a moment of calm. The jungle behind them remained dense and mysterious, its secrets largely intact. Yet, the explorers carried with them impressions of the tribe's ingenuity, survival skills, and subtle methods of observation. Every footprint, rustle, and faint marking had told a story of coexistence, stealth, and intelligence. The final stretch of their journey focused on quiet reflection. The explorers moved slowly, absorbing the sights, sounds, and textures of the jungle one last time. Twisting roots, mossy stones, and delicate foliage became symbols of the journey's lessons: patience, awareness, and the delicate balance between curiosity and caution. By the time they reached the outer edge, the explorers understood the profound truth of the hidden jungle. It was not merely a place of danger or suspense, but a living, breathing environment filled with intelligence, ritual, and subtle beauty. The journey had tested their senses, patience, and observation while providing a hypnotic narrative that gently eased their minds. In leaving the hidden jungle, they carried memories of shadowy watchers, glowing eyes, and a mysterious culture that thrived in harmony with nature's rhythm. The explorer's adventure concluded not with dramatic confrontation, but with quiet understanding, a perfect finale for a slow, sleep-friendly story that lingered in the imagination, drawing listeners gently toward rest.